Welcome back to the podcast. We're here with Armando Leduc, who is the social marketing king, and he helps you as a business generate leads, add clients, and increase your revenue. He's all about that social media content, all about making you look like a rock star, be an expert in your field, and create enough content monthly to send out to your LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, create that customer journey. So we're going to jump into what that is all about, what will get us excited, what we're missing, what should we be doing. So Armando, glad to be speaking with you.
Man, I mean, you wrapped it up. We don't even need to talk. You got it.
Right, we got it all in one package. Got everyone just excited and ready to go. But I want to hear from the source, from the horse's mouth, from Mr. 2 decades of television and film experience. What are you all about? What is your passion and your mission?
My passion and my mission. I'll tell you what my passion and my mission is. As of 2 months ago, when I had my my mindset shifted, I got to go to this visionary summit. And I met a guy there, Stephen Young, who was talking to us about, how short life is and what you should be doing. What's your vision and your mission and how you should be living your life, and not necessarily compartmentalizing things. And I think I've been compartmentalizing my life for a long time. I've been trying to put it in little compartments, and it's like, okay, this is my life here and this is my life there. And he was saying, why not just treat your life like a symphony, right? And the different aspects of your life are the woodwinds and the brass, and the woodwinds can be your family life, and the brass can be your business life, and the drums could be your health, and the French horns can be your spiritual life, and everything's going to work in harmony. And it's not realistic to think that you're going to be able to move things and keep things where they are. Life is not like that. It's messy, right? Things infuse and they move, and and they work in harmony, and then that's what it should be. It should be in harmonic, and so I'm thinking about these things, and it sort of changed the way I'm viewing life these days. And so, I think my mission here in Vision is to help people tell their stories, and to be okay with having the confidence and getting over that imposter syndrome of sharing their stories. And whether it's their business story and their personal story, there is no difference. It's the same thing, right? Your personal journey and who you are as a person is who you are as a business. There is no difference, right? And people think that they have to separate those things, and it's not separate. Why you started your business is you. Why you are a business is you. Who your business is you, right? It's just an extension of you. And so if I can help people tell that story better, right, they're going to find their audience a lot easier, and they'll make more money in the process, and they'll be living life a lot more authentically, and they don't have to put on the facade of the business person, right? It's just them. And so that's my mission.
That is deep, and that is powerful. That one does not have to take away from the other. It's that symphony, it's that orchestra. Your business is an expression of who you are, for good or for bad, right? Like if you build a business that is keeps failing or loses money or is sloppy or is not good, then that's kind of in a way an expression of what you are. But or if it's a business that completely takes over your life and it isn't fun and you hate it, that's an expression of you too. But if it's something that all works together and it's just fun for everyone involved, then that's where we all want to be. And we also want to be the kind of person where when someone goes and views our social media profile, they see all sorts of engagement, they see all sorts of content, they know exactly what we do. If they're the right client, they go and find us and they want to take the next step and get into our funnel, join our list, buy from us, set up a call, all those things. So how do we get there? When you look at the stereotypes of Gary Vee or Grant Cardone, you look at their social profile and everything has 8,000 views and they're posting 5 times a day. So how do we look at that extreme and say ooh, I want that, but I'm not even sure what parts of it I want or how I can even get close to that. So how does someone even just begin to take some steps here? If they come to you and they say, okay, well, I know I should be doing all these things, but I'm so overwhelmed where to even start, especially with this new ingredient you've added of how do you make your work and your life mission intertwine? How do they even start to crack that nut?
Well, I mean, if you look at Gary Vee, he's a Jets fan, right? You know his backstory of starting the wine podcast. You know that he loves going to flea markets and flipping like these things, right? Then he also talks about his he loves social media and how you should be posting constantly. Like, so a lot of people are like, oh, the riches are in the niches, right? The niches or whatever, niche or niche. Do you say niche or you say niche?
I say niche. I like to do the Americanized,
I
right? The
love
hard
niche.
vowels.
I love niche. But you know, tomato, tomato. But so he talks about like there's no niche, there's no niche, right? Like it's you, right? And it goes, I think it goes back to this harmonious living of what is it that makes you you, right? If you like me, I sing in a salsa band. I also do improv. I love writing scripts, right? I own a business. I'm married. I have a 4-year-old, right? So like all of that stuff goes onto my social media because it lets people know, hey, who is this guy besides, you know, trying to peddle his wares and help me with, you know, social media marketing, right? So that's the same with you, right? Think about how you help people, right? That's your business, right? Because we start a business to help people, right? Either you make them money, you save them money, or you mitigate risk. That's what businesses do. So that's an aspect of what you're going to be posting. So answer questions, Q&A, go to chat GPT and you know, say, hey, I am a plumber and I need to have 100 questions that or 100 pain points that my customers have, right? You put that in chat GPT, boom, it's going to give you 100 questions. You turn on the camera and you answer those questions one at a time, and that's content, right? That's the Q&A stuff, right? Then you can do, you know, I played golf this morning. So I'm on the golf, you know, I'm on the golf course, taking pictures, doing some videos, you know, because I love playing golf. You know, that's content. So I think people overthink it because once again, I think they're in their heads about they have to be perfect because they're putting themselves out there, and then they're afraid of being judged. And look, you're going to be judged, whatever, right? Like, who cares? Like, that's not why you're doing it. When you're living authentically and you're living about, if you're more concerned with how can you help somebody and how can you inspire someone, then you're kind of getting out of your own way of like, oh my God, they're looking at me for this, right? It's not about you. It's about how can you inspire? How can you motivate? How can you help? Right. And when you view social media in those terms, it's a lot easier to create content. And you can create content all day when you think about that. Right. But if you're so ego focused and, oh my God, I got to look my best and it's the angle and it's got to be here, then yeah, you're too caught up in the wrong thing, the wrong idea on how to create content. And yeah, you'll stay in paralysis mode and you won't get enough done because you're judging it, and that's not what you should be doing with social media.
And yeah, and it's like, if you're going to judge, at least put the videos out and then judge them. Don't judge the videos you haven't even created yet, right? Don't use the prejudgment as the procrastination for not even taking action yet.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, and it's just, this is a really good reminder, really good pep talk, and because like you see, I mean, even see some Gary V videos. Some are really slick, but some are just like what's more important is the content. And like for some reason, my brain always goes back to like I was watching some Tony Robbins podcast interview from years ago, and he was like sitting in his backyard, and there was like birds chirping, and there was like wind blowing, and he had like the stupid earbuds with like the wires coming out of it, and they were going under his shirt, and it was like the most just slap together thing ever. But I didn't care because of the person that was on camera. So that's a thing to relate, is just to say, well, there are people out there that really need help. So those are the people that we're making this content for. There's our own self-doubts. We're not making it for our own self-doubts. Focus more on the people either helping. There's the haters, or the people that we're worried we're gonna just make comments, but we're also not there to help them. We're they're helping people that need our help. And so when you say this really cool kind of homework assignment here, right? You're a plumber. You go to Chat GPT. You say, give me the 100 questions my customers have. Do you recommend that someone like look at those and like choose the top 10, or just like go down the list? Do you recommend like 1 minute, 3 minute? Like when someone sees those questions, they might say, oh my gosh, now I'm like overloaded in a new way, right? What are all these things to do? So what do we do when we get, say, those 100 questions and it's time to start recording the videos? Do we record 100 and only keep some? Like what do we do once we have the questions?
There's a really good book. It's called The 6 Types of Working Genius. Have you read it?
No, never heard of it.
You should check it out. Pat Lencioni is the author.
Okay.
It's kind of written, if you've ever read the play 12 Angry Men. Do you remember that story?
I've heard of it, haven't read it.
It's kind of written in that same vein. It's these, it's this group of people that work for this company. It's a marketing company, and they're trying to figure out why some people love to do certain things and it drains them to do other things. And so the acronym is called WIDGET: wonder, invention, discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity. Right. And so you can take the test, go to 6 Types of Working Genius. It takes you, 5 minutes, and it'll give you an assessment based on what 2 things you're really drawn to, and then 2 things that drain you, and then 2 things that are sort of in the middle. Not to say that we can't do them all, but I'll get to why you should know this about yourself, right? So wonder are the people that are always questioning things, right? That are always wondering about life and have questions as to why things happen the way they do. Then you have people that are inventors, right? Idea people that can come up with like 30 ideas in like a second, right? Then you have people that are that have discernment, that are really good at judging whether an idea is good, right? They're really good at just like gut instinct type stuff. Something's not quite right about this, right? Then you have the person that's a galvanizer, that's like they rally the troops, can motivate people, get people moving. Then you have enablement people that are like support staff that can help you out, don't need the spotlight, just Johnny on the spot. And then people that have tenacity, that are like, they need to see this project get finished, right? Like they cannot move on to a different project unless that one is finished. So all that to say is that when you're in this content creation process, right, it's good to know where you are in terms of those 6 types of working genius, right? Because if you're very high on tenacity and discernment, then you may need to find people that have good wonder and invention, right? That can help with the brainstorming aspect, right? So if you have discernment and tenacity, it's going to be good for you to use a project called ChatGPT, because that's going to help you with the ideas. That's going to help you sort of figure out what you should be doing, right? And then the discernment and tenacity will help you pinpoint and prioritize. Okay, these are probably the things that I should be kind of focusing on and prioritizing them, and then moving on into getting it done, right? Now, if you're on the other end of like wonder and invention, and you got the head up in the clouds and you're always thinking of good ideas, but for some reason you just cannot get it done, like the follow through with you is just extremely hard. That's a big problem for me, because I'm an invention guy and a galvanizer, but like getting things done and the follow through has always been a challenge for me. So when I found people that could help me with the discernment, the enablement, and the tenacity, now I was able to grow my business. Now I was able to like get my projects done, and they were all helping me because they were filling in the gaps. So read this book so that you can figure out who it is that you need to help you. Because look, I'm not going to lie to you, social media is a beast, right? Like, as you know, it's just a beast of a task, because there's so many things to think about, because you got to go through the whole process of who do you want, like the wonder, who are you? Who do you want to be on social media, which should be yourself, right? Well, your authentic self. Who's your target market? Who are we trying to help, right? That's all wonder, right? And then invention is, okay, what are the things that I need to put out, right? Like what are the things that the topics and the microscripts and all of that. Then discernment comes in and going, okay, are these the best things to be putting out there, right? And you don't have to overthink that, but like discernment can kind of help you sort of edit yourself, right? And then galvanizing, like get motivated to go and shoot it, right? Go do it, go shoot it, right? Then you got enablement is like all of the things that you need to like get it done in terms of editing and making sure that it's all getting where it needs to be. And then tenacity is like getting it out, like putting it on social media and then rinsing and repeating every month, where you're doing that. So I'm really all about team and who I can find to help me on the journey, because we can't do it all ourselves. And you shouldn't, because you're not, you're going to burn out, right? You're not going to think it's fun. Then you're going to say it doesn't work. That's because you're trying to do it all on your own. And I wouldn't advise it. You know what I mean? Because it's it can be like a movie, you know what I mean? From like development to distribution and all of the things in between. So, it's difficult. So there's another book called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. And it talks about who you need in your business, not what you need in your business.
I love it. So this is some deep thoughts to think about, that we need this team, and in the way I've been like holding the acronym in my head, the widget acronym, you said it's like almost like start to finish, right? Like the wonder and invention, that's like kind of the starting these projects and having the ideas, and like the deciding and the galvanizing, that's kind of the middle part. And then the T and all that, that's the end where you actually follow through. So it's like, where do you lie on that spectrum? And then have your team fill in your own weaknesses. And that way you end up with this machine that is thinking all the time and working all the time, right? Because there's the work on all this work that's involved with like coming up with like SEO and keywords and video production and posting to platforms, but there's also kind of the always thinking about like new hooks and what's my strategy, and all that just seems like impossible. If you'd have to be just like staying awake 24 hours a day, if not more, just to stay consistent with that, just for this to be a project that you don't only think about once every 3 months. This way it can become a sort of a daily thing that happens. And so is there anything that you feel like needs more attention as far as this content stuff? Like, are you big on saying like, record a month's worth of content at a time? Are you big on networking? Like, if there's the haves and the have-nots as far as like content marketing, is there anything that the have-nots are missing that the haves really have dialed in?
Podcasting.
Like you're doing right now.
Podcasting. It is, off of one person that I brought on my podcast, we made close to $500,000 with that relationship.
Well, tell me more.
So I think people, when they're starting podcasts, they're like, oh, who's going to watch it? What am I going to talk about? But mainly like, who's going to watch it, right? Nobody at the beginning is going to watch your podcast. So don't worry about it. Like, that's not why you're creating it. For me, with my podcast, Spaghetti on the Wall, I am only doing my podcast for me, because I love it. I think it's fun, right? 2, to build relationships with referral partners, right? And strategic partners. I am in the content marketing business. Referral partners for me are digital marketing companies that don't do what I do, web design companies that don't do what I do, other marketing agencies for people that we service. We work with a lot of attorneys, plastic surgeons, people like that. So other companies that work with attorneys, people like that. And even I even have attorneys come onto my show, right? And I've closed deals because of bringing some of these leads onto my show, right? And we're 100 plus episodes in, and the consistency is really what sells it, right? Because like, you're not going to be able to get the higher quality podcast guests until you're established, right? So your goal with the podcasting should be to get 100 episodes in, right? Once you're 100 episodes in, things will start. I'll tell you 50 episodes in, and things will start changing for you. But 100. Like that guy, does Pat Lencioni that I'm telling you about, that wrote the book. I reached out to him and he came on my podcast a couple weeks ago. right? So now that, but he did it because he saw my podcast, he saw that it was legit, that it comes out every Friday, right? So my credibility is up. Like, these people aren't just going to come on to anybody's podcast, which is why you have to stay consistent. So if you're looking for a good ROI podcasting, and then you can take these clips, cut them up, and put them on social media, right? So you got to, killing three birds with one stone.
Or like
and
six birds, right? Because you've got the networking, you've got the credibility, you've got the content, you've got the traffic, you've got just a good habit in general. I mean, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
You're preaching to the preacher,
and you're preaching right back. Well, great. So how does someone take the next step with you? You've dished all sorts of good content. You've given us some books to read, some things to do, some real deep questions to think about. And they say, okay, now I'm chomping at the bit. Now I know that I need to take action on this, but it can be like a real mess, especially if you try to figure out the to-do list yourself. So they need to reach out to you and find out about the Spaghetti on the Wall podcast and your service, and just like reach out to you personally for guidance. So how does someone take that next step with you? What's the call to action?
So they can come to leducentertainment.com or thesocialmarketingking.com. They can either take the course, right? I've got an online course called Content into Cash, and it teaches you exactly what I was just telling you, like how to create the content from development to distribution, right? I call it sort of your business as a movie structure. And this is how we create content on a monthly basis for all of our clients. So I think we're up to about 600 videos a month that we edit. So we're churning it out, and we've streamlined the process. So if they want to do that, they can do that. They want to work with me on a consulting basis, they can do that. And then we can also create content for them and help them distribute the content themselves. Like we're a one-stop shop in terms of that's concerned, and we can help you create your podcast. We can help you, create a volume of content. Like we've got one client where we're putting out about 100 pieces of content a month for them.
Nice.
So we have, everything sort of in levels. However you want to work with us, we can accommodate.
Depending on the path we want to go. Wonderful. So that is thesocialmarketingking.com. And you also said Leduc Entertainment. That's LEDUC Entertainment. And I love that your business is a movie concept. So many different ideas come to mind about that, from like if you watch a Marvel movie, you kind of see like the same but different. And even like you mentioned like this whole Gary Vee thing, there's that aspect of like the reputation but different, right? In a lot of Gary Vee, I mean, he's had to have mentioned the garage sailing and the wine library and the jets so many times for us to know those are the things we gravitate to. But for some reason it's fresh, and you figure with a movie, the things are left on the cutting room floors, or it's just the best information. I mean, it's just a really cool analogy metaphor to think about. So thesocialmarketingking.com and the Spaghetti on the Wall podcast. And as we wrap up, wind down our conversation here, Armando, you know how we need these content clips, right? One of my favorite ways to get these little content clips from the podcast is near the end of the episode, ask my guests if they have a favorite quote, moral, or lesson. So for content soundbite purposes, do you have a favorite quote, moral, or lesson to share with us?
A soundbite. I've got many. You know what I will say? So this is really fun exercise that that guy at the Visionary Summit made us do. Said, I want you to envision yourself on like the last day you're alive, right? Way far out into the future. And I want you to think about what your future self would tell you right now. And I want you to use your non-dominant hand, and I want you to write down what he's telling you, right? And I told myself, I said, you don't have to try. You already have everything that you want in your life. And so I was like, damn, all right, cool. And so the guy was like, nobody I've done this exercise with every single group I talk to. And nobody's ever saying, oh, you have to make more money. Oh, you have to, try harder. Oh, it's always like, live right now. Like all you have is right now, and start enjoying your life. Start living in the gain and not the gap.
And what I get from that answer is be kinder to yourself. So with that in mind, it is time to go to leducentertainment.com and thesocialmarketingking.com. We will see you there. And thank you, Armando, for sharing some these really profound, huge ideas with us. I really appreciate you.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.